One day in Los Angeles in 2044, scientists explained Mr. Chang was interested about World War II. So the other day, when he was walking back home, he heard a big crash in the old abandoned warehouse. He walked to the old abandoned warehouse, and when he stepped in the front door, he found he was stepping on a blue cloth. It was very mysterious. Then Mr. Chang pulled the cloth and he found a time machine. Mr. Chang was very excited to use it, but he had things to bring with him. So he went back home and grabbed his bag with food, water, and clothes. And he went back to the old abandoned warehouse and pushed the button. Then a portal opened up. He was going to the past. He took a step in and boom! The light was gleaming bright. It was 1941. He could see two countries fighting. There was the cunning Japanese and powerful U.S. Army. Mr. Chang was in a trench. Then he had an idea. He went to the forest and went back to the U.S. camp. He dressed as a soldier and went to the forest and hide. But there was a jeep coming in and the jeep picked him up. The camp. Mr. Chang went back to the U.S. camp. He went to a tent with all the other soldiers. But also it smelled like a rat died in there, and the floor was crawling with the worms and sticking out. Mr. Chang was also worried about the bombs that was dropped. Also, the most annoying thing that he can't get rid of are the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, thousands and thousands of mosquitoes are flying around Mr. Chang. Mr. Chang always gets bitten by these mosquitoes, and he feels very annoyed. After that day, he went to the cafeteria, but he can't find a cafeteria. He only can find chairs to sit in. Also, the only thing that Mr. Chang liked was the apple they gave out. Mr. Chang took out his notebook and wrote how do they eat. The soldiers ate on the ground because there was no tables and their food supplies were little. There was some rice and apples, but not a lot of meat. After that day, he went to the weapons. He needed to check out the weapons, but there was one problem. The only problem was there was a soldier guarding it. Then the soldier went to another direction, and so Mr. Chang watched the pattern. He moved in it and grabbed one each box. Then he went to the forest and opened it. He written down how long all the information it is and how can it be disabled. He wrote down the first gun was called the M1. The second gun was called the M1 carbine that he wrote about. And the last one was called M1911. Now, Mr. Chang had to go back home. But where was the time machine? Mr. Chang was stuck in time. So after 5 years, Mr. Chang was living in the past. Every day, Mr. Chang thought about the time machine. But one place he had to the old abandoned warehouse. He went in the old abandoned warehouse and he found a blue clock. Then he pushed the button 2044. Then the same portal opened up. Now he was going back home. Back at home, when Mr. Chang went at home, he wrote down all the information and published it and wrote it all down. Mr. Chang laid in his bed and slept for days. He was very tired and exhausted. Credits. The end.